Hey there, what's up? Welcome to Mahogany Sweets. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I wanted to come and talk to y'all in these YouTube streets about this R. Kelly, Azriel, and Jocelyn situation. Y'all piss me off and y'all need y'all ass beat, and I'm going to tell you why. Azriel and Jocelyn are two victims. I don't care how old they are or where they come from or what you feel that they know or what you feel they're capable of, any of that. They are victims. As children, they were given by their parents to a grown ass man to do it as he pleased to. That's a victim in every sense of the word. Now, y'all might not be familiar with MK Ultra, sex better kitten slaves, battered women syndrome, troubled youth who've been abandoned by family members who've been sold out for sex because pretty much they were sold by their parents for sex. Y'all might not be familiar with the mental illness and the ways that can affect them, that trauma can affect them. But these two women, all of those things happen to them, and they are victims of it. And I just keep seeing where women are saying how is their fault. Y'all are trying to find any way to make it their fault, or that they wanted it, or that they deserved it, or that they are just here for money, and all these other claims that y'all are saying about two young innocent ladies who were victims. That's just astonishing to me. That's to me just sick. And I don't think that y'all taking into full account everything that they've been through. So I want to come and break it down to you. We're going to start with their parents. Number one, if these young ladies' own parents as children gave them away to a grown-ass man who they already knew had married a 15-year-old child, talking about their career or that he was paying them money, what type of upbringing do you think that these girls truly had? Do you think that that was a loving, nurturing place? Because the parents' first mindset when having children is to protect them at all costs, not to go and sell them for wealth, for fame, for notoriety. So these girls most likely was already dealing with a lot of trauma from childhood, but now they've been abandoned by their parents and put off on a grown-ass man who they don't know other than his music. And let's talk about R. Kelly. R. Kelly was a victim of MK Ultra himself, but he was trained by the industry on how to break people, make MK Ultra slaves, and he also was trained on how to be a handler. He did that for the industry. They, number one, used MK Ultra on him. They, number two, taught him how to apply it. And they, number three, taught him how to be a handler of it. To which, because he was a Leah's handler, to which he then later decided to use for his own use outside of the industry. Which is probably the only reason why they're coming down on him for it now, is because he did not use it for them, but he was using it for his own ill-begotten means, or reasons, I should say. But let me first backtrack. MK Ultra, just in case you are not familiar with it or do not know what it is, you can go Google it, YouTube it. It's plenty of information on it. Also Google and YouTube sex better kitten slave. But MK Ultra was a program that the Russian scientists came up with. And back long ago, during some wars, they were trying to figure out how they were capable of doing this. And they actually, when they won that war, they kidnapped, I guess you can say, or employed these Russian scientists who taught them their skills of MK Ultra and how to apply it. Now, MK Ultra is where through trauma, and let me give you some ideas of what type of trauma it is that they do. They break the person's mind to where they can then control and indoctrinate and brainwash them. And this is how they do it through abuse, physical, like literally like abuse, through sex, rape, through depriving them of sleep, through putting them on drugs, right? And that's how they're able to indoctrinate and do the controlling and make them behave and think a certain way. And what else? I believe that that's pretty much it. It's the sleep deprivation, the drugs, the sexual abuse, and the physical abuse. Oh, and then they isolate them, and all of these things compiled together makes it easier for them to tell them and retrain and brainwash them into thinking a certain way. They can even through that make you believe that your name and that you are somebody who you're not. That's why you can catch Britney Spears at any moment talking like she a London woman, a woman from London, and had an accent. That's why they had, what was that woman name who's with that old man? No, her name wasn't Natalie Smith. Something Smith. That's why she was shown in a picture in a clown face talking like she was a 5-year-old child. Because that's the power of this stuff, okay? Go check it out now. So anyway, so these women have went from abandonment from their own parents and probably not the best environment to being pushed on a man to which their parents didn't want them back until after he stopped paying them. But by then, his indoctrination and brainwashing had already taken place. But prior to then, if they would have tried to run away and go back home to their parents, you think their parents, the same parents who sold them to this man, was going to allow them to come back home? So those girls, number one, before the indoctrination had taken place, were already in a situation of like, crap, I can't go back home. My parents ain't going to allow me to come back home. Or they're just going to send me back to here. Or they're going to be pissed and angry at me for not staying. Right? And then R. Kelly through MK Ultra and indoctrinating them and getting them in the regime of being controlled to his liking, he no longer then needed his family to aid him in keeping them there. Because at that point, he had already been able to fulfill what he needed to fulfill. So I believe that also was R. Kelly's little game that he would play with these people. Yeah, I only need to pay them so long enough because after I get finished MK Ultra and their asses, they're not going to leave me anyway. Their parents won't be able to get them back. But anyway, so let's move along with the story. So these women, young ladies at that, because they were children when they went to him. And y'all might not know this, but whenever you go through any type of trauma, whether it's sexual abuse, physical battery abuse, mental and emotional abuse, because these are all forms of abuse, and they use all of them in creating a brainwashed person. And that's the other thing y'all need to realize. If you get grown women who husbands end up doing this to them, how much more successful and great at it do you think R. Kelly would be when he even knows and is experienced in a whole nother level of doing it, and he's starting it off with children? Because a person's they say a woman's brain isn't even completely fully formed or functional, should I say, till she's 22, and a man's not till he's 24 or 25. I may be wrong on those ages. You can go look it up. But our brains aren't fully formed at 18, just in case you didn't know. So if these women were taken at 15, 16, how screwed up then do you think that these girls could possibly be? And y'all want to villainize them, basically. Talking about, oh, if the money was still there, then they would still be there and all of this. Well, no, that's not the case. If you want to know what it is and why things are breaking down right now, it's because R. Kelly, who is not only their breaker, but he's also their handler, if he is gone, his tight control and brainwashing and regime of them is crumbling, which means that now his spell, his indoctrination is wearing off. Due to the fact that he's not there, their whole schedule, system, lifestyle is being disrupted. So that's the other thing that y'all seeing in Azriel. Azriel, while y'all saying all this other stuff about her, Azriel, what I seen through that video, but I am a bit more familiar with these things, is that was a girl who's angry, who's scared, who's confused, who's sad. She's dealing with a whole bunch of emotions right now. She's being privy now to information that she did not have before. She's being exposed to more, being able to interact with other people outside of his camp who helps keep in the indoctrination and mind control. Now she's been exposed to so much more. So, yeah, it's wearing off, and it's taking her on a trip. And y'all not even being patient or understanding of that. Y'all want to villainize this young lady who is a victim. They're both very much so victims. The reason why Jocelyn is still so much under the brainwashing is because although her schedule and system is being disrupted just like Azriel's is, she still has a handler right next to her who's being able to keep her in line under the indoctrination, under the regime. Because that was one of the things that Azriel said in the video. She said she came with her handler. Look up what a handler is, y'all, just so you would know. And that's the other thing that the industry do. They will pair two victims together because they are able to reinforce, which is also what a handler does. But the whole reason why they will pair two together, because then they don't have to have a handler on each and every one of their subjects, because those two victims themselves keep each other. They keep the indoctrination reinforced through each other, so that they both stay on the same track of the agenda of what they're supposed to be doing, which is why them two were probably paired together. But as you see, Jocelyn is the only one who still has the handler right over her, because that's the other thing that a handler do. They stay on you to make sure that you are in line and that you're still doing what you're supposed to do. That's the other reason why they had stated that R. Kelly was still making them have drinks at a certain time of day. He was trying to keep the control in the regime going. And he left his people in control to try and keep them young ladies in control. But as you see, they ain't did a good job at that, which is why he probably pissed off and want to get in their ass for that. But anyway, whenever a person goes through trauma, at whatever age that it is that they go through that trauma, they normally are stunted in their growth emotionally and mentally at that age, because the wall goes up, they shut down then. So we're not even really talking about two, and it's probably mental illness going on as well. We're not talking about two ladies who are actually fully grown, well-rounded adults. That's not what you're dealing with. So I don't know why you're expecting them to be any different than what they are, because they have been sexually abused, physically abused, mentally abused for years now. And to try and minimize it as a money thing, like, wow, come on, ladies. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself for that. To try and minimize it as a just a them acting out thing or something. Of course they're acting out. They're very much so probably going through breakdowns right now. Their whole world is crumbling, and what they've known for the last however many years, it has just crumbled right before their eyes. And believe it or not, they probably have no life skills to survive on their own, to thrive on their own. You have women who've been married for 10, 15 years who fear the unknown. They rather stick with the demon that they're comfortable and familiar with, because they know that demon, versus go out into the world, into the unknown, and around other demons that they don't know and ain't familiar with. So if a woman who's been married 10, 15 years can't so easily just pick up and go, what make you think these little baby girls who went straight from their damn deranged parents straight into this damn man's lap, what makes you think that they will be equipped to be able to go out there and thrive on their own? They probably don't have any real job skills. They probably don't know how to, right, well, we know they ain't got a damn job. They ain't even got an income at this point. Probably no real job history. Probably can't budget finances to be able to take care of themselves. But y'all expecting that they're supposed to pick up and walk off from R. Kelly? Like, no. So y'all trying to make this a money thing, but it's not a money thing in a sense that you're saying. These women very much so will have a hard time going to just go jump out into the world by themselves when they haven't been trained or taught to do that. That's not something that even a child automatically does. A child can want to do it at 13, 14, like, oh, I can't wait till I'm 18. But that's still something that you have to be taught and trained to do. They were sent from their parents to this young man, to R. Kelly, who has no intention. What you need to know about a handler, or even just a man who's a controller, the last thing that they want is someone to be self-sufficient. They're not about to teach you to think for yourself, to be able to provide for yourself and fend for yourself. So they do not have those skills. And I don't know why y'all would expect for them to. We are talking about two victims, and I want to stress the term victim. They are victims, and y'all need y'all asses beat for vilifying them, because basically what y'all are doing, maybe y'all are unaware of it, maybe y'all haven't looked at everything in its totality, maybe y'all don't have a deeper understanding of these things, but you have so many women who come and say what made them not speak out, or what made them stay, is no one believed them. It's just like somehow they find a way to put the blame on them. You know what I'm saying? They blame the women. Oh, she must have wanted it. Oh, she would still be there. She liked it. Oh, she's using them. or y'all just trying to find some type of way to make it the victim's fault. And that's crazy, especially coming from other women. Now, trust me, I get what you're saying, because I see bullshit that women do where I be like, she full of shit, right? Woman to woman, we pretty much can pick that up. But I don't see how y'all picking that up with these two victims. They are victims. Any way that you cut it. Even Drea Kelly is even yet still a victim. You know what I'm saying? Daddyless girls, it's easier for a man to be able to get in and break her. Women with low self-esteem, it's easy for a man to be able to get in there and break her. Dealing with any type of mental illness or, like, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves for demonizing pretty much all these women. I didn't even watch the documentary, but I would imagine that if I had watched the documentary, the last thing that I'd be doing is doing what y'all doing. And I'm just judging this based off the comments that I've read on videos and commentary that I've read about it. That people just keep saying, like, oh, Azriel, she too smart for this, or oh, they just dumb, or oh, they just leaving now because the money gone. And like, are you serious? Like, that's just mind-boggling to me. I get that sometimes these things can apply to certain women, but it can't apply in this case when you're talking about little girls who were sold, basically, human trafficked, sex trafficked, by their parents to a grown-ass man who is very skilled in the arts of MK Ultra, creating sex better kitten slaves, who is great at breaking women down, who is great at being a womanizer, mentally taking control and emotionally taking control over someone. The things that you would apply to the average woman that's in her late 20s, 30s, you cannot apply to these women who have come into contact with R. Kelly, especially the ones who came into contact with him way prior to the age of 22, 23, 24, when their brains were fully formed, when they had lived a little bit of life and had some experience. So cut it out. Try and be more compassionate, more understanding. Look at the bigger, broader picture here and what's unique to these young ladies' case. Okay? And please, please, please go and look up Stockholm Syndrome, MK Ultra, Sex Better Kitten Slave. Look up a handler. Go and look up these things, and maybe you might be able to realize that you're being way too harsh on these two young victims. Stressing the word victim on these two young victims who have been through a lot of trauma and right now are having the world shaken up from that trauma, who are confused, who are going through a lot. And you know what? Jocelyn also might just be trying to hold on to what she knows. This is what was the demon that she knows, that she comfortable, familiar with. She might be going through a stage of denial and struggling with, no, I don't want any of this to be true. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought about that. That might be a thing with her. It might be also that she has that handler right over her, but it also might be the fact that she's like, okay, I'm now being bombarded with information, ideas, and being exposed to things that I wasn't privy to before. And yeah, her first thought might be to reject it all versus embracing it, where Azriel is trying to embrace it, but she's still struggling with it on a mental and emotional level because she's been through a lot. She will feel betrayed. She will feel alone, scared, angry, sad. And y'all not taking any of that to account. And y'all really should. It's unfortunate. Please don't drag these young ladies. Yeah, y'all seeing these things play out in the media about their lives. Y'all seeing them act out because, of course, children act out when their world is being disrupted. Because I'm quite sure to some degree they would have believed that R. Kelly does love them or did love them. To some degree, they would have felt that they were happy with him, that they were safe with him. Go look up MK Ultra. Oh, right. That's another thing. Let me tell y'all about this, because y'all might think it's strange that I said safe with him if I'm telling y'all he was the MK Ultra person who broke them, right? Dave Chappelle said that this pimp told him, which actually, go look at that Dave Chappelle special. Everything he was saying applied to the industry, because that's who Dave Chappelle was talking about. He was talking about the industry and equilibrium and some about the bird. But anyway, he said the pimp told him, you beat how you break a hoe in. You beat the hell out of her, and then you run her a bath and give her medicine to feel better, and she'll appreciate you and love you so much for making her feel better that she'll forget that you were the one who beat her ass in the first place. Go look at that knowledge, okay, young ladies? Go look at that. But Dave Chappelle even also was talking about MK Ultra and how the industry works there. Y'all might not believe in Illuminati, which is just a broad term, which means illuminated, because they believe that they are the elite and have this understanding and knowledge that the masses don't have, which to a degree that they do, but it's more so just sorcery, witchcraft, and Satanism, stuff like that. But anyway, and black magic. Go look up these things that I'm telling you, and your word will be blown if you ain't already aware of them. And then after you do, leave these young ladies alone, and how about have a heart, some compassion, and some sympathy towards them, instead of bashing and dragging these young women who have been through a lot and who are still currently going through a lot. Thank you.